Wow, it's been a while since Rooster Teeth gave us a nightmare grim like that. Like, damn, that was I was expecting a very Halloween like atmosphere to this episode. Like, damn. Other than that, I like to give a little shout out. Apparently, this village that they're in, um, Burnswich, is actually based off of some folklore of the Headless Horseman. And I'm like, duh. So I feel so stupid now about that because I did say I was Googling anything that has something to do with this village, but nothing supernatural came up. But then I should have put the word folklore within the Google search. And because I found out what the village was basically about. Now, that being said, let's just get on to this episode. It was 20 minutes, so yeah, it was 4 minutes longer than the average episode of RWBY you usually receive. So, depression was already kicking in. This team was already depressed before they even found this village. But by the time they got in there, things seemed to get worse and worse. Everyone's attitude, all of their any hope they had left, it just left. They didn't want to do nothing, you know. First I thought everyone was just being this way because they were depressed, but it was something that was going on under the village itself. It was leading up to something. I knew something was wrong, and I didn't know it had anything to do with the thing that was in the cellar. I thought it was just something was just wrong. Because when you put the pieces together and finally find out what the village is based off of, you can understand that it's going to be grim related. But what kind of grim I did not expect. The apathy. They're weak grim. Just like Murray has said, they're very weak grim. They're not dangerous or anything like that. But however, they just devour. They just devour your will to go on. They don't eat you or anything like that. So that explains the bodies within the village. No one gets eaten, they just have their will, the will of anything to do anything. That's very interesting. So these creatures are very harmless. The question is how did they get there? But then that also goes within one of the diaries that Maria found. There was up to 8 of them, I believe, and it went all the way where this guy was trying to make his own village, people to live there, and he was being extremely cheap and to cut costs. Ugh, I hate it when politicians try so hard to cut costs, they'll put people's lives in danger. So this guy would rather bring in Grim into his village than just have huntsmen there or huntresses, whatever. He would rather have Grim in the village just to cut costs. This is why you really gotta be careful of who's leading your area. You really gotta be careful because people do some corrupt stuff to cut corners for their own sake, and that can mean everyone's lives can be on the line. Of course, his idea did work, you know. Everyone was calm, the village, no one had no will though to really want to do anything spontaneous. No one wanted to leave or anything like that. So he only brought 2 in. But, however, not thinking of anything overnight, the other apathy snuck into the village and started draining away the will of everybody. This was dumb. This could have easily been avoided, but then again, that's how like most disasters in our own world happen. People who try to cut corners, be cheap and corrupted, and it comes as a giant backlash later on in life. This happens too often in real life, so I don't know how other people will take this, but I can take it as a very relatable subject. In our own world right now, we have politicians and people in power across the world who are cutting corners and doing corruptive things to their own innocent people that they're supposed to protect and look after, just because they want to save a few bucks. And all I gotta say to that is just shame on them. Just completely shame. But anyways, it does bring some awareness of to always check to see what your political leaders are doing to your state or city. But that being said, RWBY, it took her a while to get affected by the apathy. Everyone else was depressed, you know. Yang didn't care. She wanted RWBY just to throw away the relic. Like, who cares? It'll probably take years for them to find this relic, and probably not even their lifetime, which is possible. It seems like no one really goes to that village, so it'll probably take 2 lifetimes for someone to even discover that relic under the well. So that was reasonable, but still, it wasn't the right thing to do. Same thing with Weiss, where she kept saying, "What's the point of us going to Alice?" As we all see, Weiss didn't want to be in Alice. That's her hometown. She didn't want to go there because she had nothing but sad memories there. And of course, Blake will just go where anyone else will go to. As for Crow, he found the cellar. He found the cellar. I don't know how, but he did. Which is very strange because I remember in the last episode, Ruby told Weiss to not tell Uncle Crow about this place because the way he's in, he would easily just go in that cellar and drink up all the liquor, and somehow he felt it. You just can't keep an alcoholic from alcohol. You can't. You just can't. So that being said, he also came with a depressed state, mainly of his own self-guilt. He believes that most of the stuff that happens bad around him and the team is his fault, and that's slightly true in a way, and I hate to say that because Crow's a really good character, but then again, that's his semblance. He brings bad luck to those around him, and that can't be helped, unfortunately. That really does suck for Crow. And he can't help but to go to drink, to drink his problems away, to ease off the pain that he feels on the inside. And of course, Ruby tries to open up to him, but he just don't want to do that because he's a tough guy. You have to understand these people's feelings and how they do things. That's just how Crow is as a character. Now, the Apathy, in a way, like I said, they weren't dangerous characters. They were, simple-minded breeding characters. They just... How did they survive is the question. I know they failed the villagers. That was probably years ago, though. I mean, years. So, it makes you wonder, how do Grimm survive without eating anything for years? Maybe they're like zombies or something. They eat when they see something, but yet again, they live for a very, very long time, even without eating anything in some zombie places, such as The Walking Dead or something. But anyways, finally, we also get more information about Silver Eyes. And it's about time. Lately, Silver Eyes been seen to be very, very irrelevant. But now, thanks to this episode, they're relevant again. Thank God. Now, with the Silver Eyes, it kind of... They pretty much spoiled it for us in the opening. Like I said, the RWBY opening is heavy in spoilers. Because when you look at it, RWBY is looking into Maria's eyes, and Maria is looking into RWBY's eyes. That should have been a no-brainer giveaway right there. Right there. That they had something eye connected. But I looked over it. I freaking looked over it. And usually I'm very analytical when it comes to these openings. But no, I looked over that one for some freaking reason. And it was in our faces, people. Just think about it. Her eyes, the gadget in her eyes, probably she had poor eyesight. She had to have some importance to this group, but how? We all knew she had some type of importance, we just knew what it was. But that opening pretty much said everything. So, finally, next episode, probably we're going to get some information about more origin stories of the Silver Eyes. What can they do? And what's so very important about them? We know these Silver Eyes can kick any source of Grimm's ass. And now that I think about it, RWBY has only summoned the Silver Eyes in the presence of Grimm, or Grimm-like states. For instance, when Pyrrha died, they activated... Of course, seeing Pyrrha, then again, it destroyed froze that giant Grimm and beacon. It happened again with Salem when she thought Weiss was John or Weiss were about to get killed. I forgot who, but Salem had part of the Grimm onto her, and now it did it again for more Grimm. That's just my theory that the Silver Eyes only really react to Grimm. But it could be more than that. That's just a theory about how I'm thinking about it. But yeah, that was exciting. This episode in a way was pretty interesting. Nice, slow, steady pace. We get to see a tragedy of a village that tried to make it on its own, but it was being led by a very corrupted individual whose heart probably was in the right place, but because of his greediness, his stingy of passing on a few bucks, costs them all their lives. This is what happens when you be cheap. See, it's okay to be cheap for yourself, but it's never okay to be cheap for the people you're responsible for. Because you're being cheap for things you're responsible for, something can happen. It will fall upon you. So just keep that in mind. Don't be cheap for other people, just for yourself. That's it. So anyway, that's all I got for review. I did enjoy this episode. It was pretty interesting, you know. Not as good as the last episode. I really enjoyed the last episode, maybe because I'm a Neo fan, and seeing Neo back was just a highlight of my life. But this episode, nonetheless, was just good. It was good. Okay. Not like the last episode, but you know. So that's all I got for review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload. Madcrownxox, sign out. Have a good one.